Osman. Today I'll be talking about the use of plasma arc technology as a renewable energy source. I'll be going through the introduction about what the issue is, then the proposed solution, then I'll talk about the plasma arc technology, how it works, what it does, the inputs, the outputs, and its environmental impacts. Then I'll start talking about the device implementation from a chosen case study. And then I'll give you a conclusion about why it's a resourceful renewable energy method. In the most recent years, waste management has been a big topic of discussion due to the growing impact of man-made waste to our environment. Almost every human activity is a source of waste. Hospitals, industries, schools, and even our homes are channels of waste production. At the moment, the world produces 2.12 billion tons of waste, and this figure is predicted to grow by 70% by 2050. In many cases, we have either disposed the produced wastes in either the oceans or landfills. Landfills away from the sea have been the designated destination for tons and tons of waste. However, landfills are a source of noise, land and air pollution. They are sources of toxins, CO2 and other greenhouse gases which contribute to global warming. With the increasing population on our Earth, we need to find not only a suitable waste management method, but also one which has low impact to the environment. In this report, we will evaluate how the plasma arc technology can be used as an alternative waste management method to the traditional land pits. By using plasma arc technology to convert waste into electrical energy, hence achieving the following. We reduce the amount of waste that ends up in landfills and generate a clean supply of electrical energy from otherwise discarded materials. What is plasma arc technology? Plasma arc technology is a technology that can only be used to produce energy in a process called plasma arc gasification, PAG. In PAG, solid waste is converted into a gas, syngas, by a plasma arc. The process begins by feeding the solid waste into a plasma arc torch, which is then subjected to high temperature and energy. The waste is vaporized and broken down into constituent atoms, which are then reassembled into gas, syngas. The syngas can be burnt to generate heat and electricity, or can be further produced to produce various chemical and fuels. So the purpose of arc technology: reduce the amount of waste that ends up in landfills, and to also generate a clean supply of electrical energy from otherwise discarded materials. Types of waste that can be converted by plasma arc technology. There are many types, but these are the most common and widely known ones. Municipal waste, agricultural waste, industrial and chemical waste, construction waste, civil sludge, medical and toxic waste. Now I'll talk about the advantages and disadvantages of plasma arc technology. PAG has several advantages as both a means of environmental conservation and means of energy production. It can handle a wide range of waste, which are both solid and liquid, organic and inorganic waste. It generates clean energy while removing existing waste masses. The machine generates 181,000 litres of biodiesel per day, along with methanol, syngas and gasoline. It can revive landfills which were closed before due to reaching maximum capacity, while extending the viability of current landfills for years. It has a high conversion rate, up to 300 tons of garbage per day. It has low CO2 emission, generates employments for local, like 50 plus skilled manpower, for example, low sound pollution, unlike other heavy machinery. It produces under 70 dB, less noisy than a cloud classroom at 10 meters. However, the device has some disadvantages as follows. Due to its efficiency, it requires a large capital investment, good cooperation with the government and ministries of environment to keep it running. Also, it needs a significant 2,500 square meters of land to install it, which in most cases it might be a challenge especially in large cities. Hence, the garbage will have to be transported from the landfills to the machine site. How does the device work? The steps and process of how the machine works. The operation requirements: the input only requires 3 MW to operate, can produce 300 tons of waste per day. The arc plasma reactor requires up to 50 skilled manpower to operate. The outputs of the machine is the syngas, which is like 20,500 meter cube per hour, methanol 180 tons per day, biodiesel 181,000 liters per day, gasoline 90,000 liters per day, electricity 30 MW per day. Now I'll talk about how the device works. The waste is placed into the machine through a feeding port. The machine then turns the waste into syngas through the process of gasification using plasma. The syngas then goes into a black box, which contains a fuel cell, which inputs the syngas and water about 30 GPH, gallons per hour, and then 2 electronic reactions happen within the fuel cell, creating electricity and heat. The excess heat is then converted into additional 100 kW electricity by a thermal. Now I'll talk about the environmental impacts of the machine. Produces as little as 0.005 kiloton of CO2 per day. It also produces a minimal sound of pollution, as it produces less than 70 dB at 10 meters. That means that you can only hear the machines operating within 500 meters radius. And finally, the arc plasma reactor virtually eliminates air pollution 10,000 times longer and lower than the US EPA, the Environmental Protection Agency standards, which is very important, these three, which helps promote this project. For the machine installation procedures, cost and feasibility. Since the machine is privately developed, to install it and bring it to the operation, we need to cooperate with the country's government and relevant environmental conservation agencies who are interested in the technology. To run the machine in New York City, we should also get approvals from the District Power Board, the Department of Energy, the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission, FERC. Depending on the type of agreement, whether it's for the government or a privately owned landfill, it may be required to purchase the waste from the landfill owner, and then it is transported to the facility where the waste can be dumped into the feeding port without the need of sorting. The site only takes up to 2,500 square meters of land. Unfortunately, other than the reactor itself, the site itself cannot be transported from one landfill to another. Now for the device installation cost and feasibility. Capital investment 75 million. Annual operating income 28,908,000. Tipping fees 5,420,250. Total income $34,328,250. Simple payback 2.18 years. Annual return on investment 45.7%. With an investment of $75 million and operating cost of $33 million to set up and run one plasma art machine will cost $108 million at an 4.7% annual return rate, which means after 2 years the machine will be running on self-generating profits and produce even more profits. As you can see from this table, it's just the expenses in 4 quarters. For the plasma arc technology in the case study, which I picked New York, because the reason I picked New York is because it's one of the most highly populated countries in the world, and it's also one of the highest polluted cities on earth. You see where the issue is. Population of nearly 9 million people. It's estimated that the city produces 14 million tons of garbage per year, which ends up in landfills, incinerators, or on the streets, and in some cases a lot of this garbage ends up in the ocean. For example, the number of active and inactive landfills in NYC and the amount of garbage generally annihilated is very high. And the implementation of plasma arc technology in NYC would help develop the city by reducing the pollution to very, very up to 70%. in the next 50 years. The cost comparison between plasma art technology and annual cost of the waste in NYC. If this is applied, the machine will also produce a total of 2.7 billion litres of biodiesel per year, which is like 30.1% of the entire country of USA. Current biodiesel production volume of 8.8 billion litres per year. So as a conclusion, I would just like to say, with the increasing population, we need to find a not only suitable waste management method, but also one which has a low impact on the environment. We can conclude that the plasma arc technology machine is an environmental, friendly, cost-efficient, and a sufficient source of renewable energy. Hence, it is a fitting solution to the waste management issues in New York and can be applied to other cities in the world. Because of course we know that the machine, while operating at full capacity, can process up to 33 tons of garbage per day. That means that 40 machines are needed to process all of New York annually of like 12,000 tons per day. In addition to that, there are 53 inactive landfills commissioned to either be full or deemed dangerous to the environment. So with this, it can help increase whilst also decreasing the pollution. Thank you so much for your time. Hope you enjoyed this. Enjoy your afternoon.